Everyone, we'll get started here. Thanks so much for taking time to join us. This is our third virtual networking conference, and it's turning out to be already a really big success. I'm happy to say we have well over 300 attendees this time around. And as a lot of you know, we have both full access and limited access tickets. Full access tickets have it's the networking side of our event. And we have, I think, just over 200 people that have full access tickets this time around. We can change the format for our one-on-ones, which I'm going to explain more at the end of this keynote session. In fact, if you guys will hang around after this keynote, I'll start now with my presentation, and then we'll have some time for Q&A, followed by about 10 minutes for me just to walk you through how to get the most out of the conference. And then after that will come the first one-on-one session. So thanks everyone for joining us. I very much appreciate you being here and joining us. Today we're going to talk about, I'm going to speak about the business reputation management recyclables. Obviously, well, we wouldn't be anywhere in our careers if we didn't understand the importance of managing your reputation. However, things have changed in the last, say, 10, 20 years that you started to see a lot of the influence from B2C reputation systems move into the B2B space, which is, of course, one of the things that we're doing at Tradefox. So I thought it'd be good to have a chat about that, to talk about what we see as coming and how we think that it's kind of our advice about how that you should be focused on managing your business reputation in kind of a changing world. And I think you could think of B2C platforms like hotels.com, Trustpilot, Amazon. So I think we've interacted with those enough nowadays to know that there are some shortcomings, but there's definitely an urge for people to try to make sense of all the information that we have access to nowadays in this information age. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, there's someone that just had it off, took the mute off for a second. So, anyway, so what I'm going to speak to you about then is just I want to talk about how the evolutions of the B2C systems has moved into the B2B space, particularly. So a famous guy back in the 17th century said, it takes many good deeds to build a good reputation, but only one to lose it. And although this is true, I would say in some regards, I would also argue that times have changed, and you see that a little bit in his profession in the political space. If it were actually true, well, you wouldn't see the politicians continue to get reelected, even though they have bad deeds to their names. So times have changed. There's a lot of theories on what's going on and why times aren't simple as they were anymore. But I will definitely, my strong opinion is that we have access to so much information, and there's two sides to every story, sometimes three. So word of mouth, which used to be the way that we got through our business or grew our reputation, our business careers. Word of mouth is not as strong as it used to be. It's become diluted. And I think especially in our industry where we're separated by vast distances, tens of thousands of companies that are in the recycling industry alone, it's really hard to make sense of which companies are reputable and which ones aren't. And also the word of mouth side of things is a bit difficult to manage, especially for our business. Reputation management is the practice of influencing stakeholder perceptions and public conversations about an organization and its brands. So there are three main areas that I think we all need to be diligent about and keep an eye on if we're going to maintain our reputation. The first and most important thing, I believe, is to monitor perceptions and conversations about us. And that also has become very complicated nowadays because conversations about us, our brand, our company, they're going on in all kinds of channels. It's no longer just word of mouth, as I said, no longer the grapevine. In fact, there's Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, WhatsApp groups. So it's becoming more and more difficult to keep an eye on this, but it's very important that you do so. The second action that you need to take is to respond to reputational threats. So basically silence implies guilt, right? So we need to monitor, look for conversations about us and our brand, and any of these that are not favorable, we need to respond to them directly. And the third major activity for managing your reputation is to proactively seize opportunities to boost reputation. And that has a lot to do with what this keynote is about today. So I'm happy to talk more about that. There was a study done by Deloitte in 2015, so it's about 6 years old. And they wanted to quantify the value of a company's market value and quantify the value of the company's reputation capital in relation to its market value. And the number that they've come up with is 25%. I think that number is higher now because I think, like, for example, we hear stories of online reputations. Companies that really master the art of managing the reputation online, for example, can have extremely, great revenue, and then also they can you see situations where something really remarkable happens in a negative way, and it can also destroy a business. So I think it's important for us to keep in mind, to keep this term reputation capital in mind, because it allows us to put a number on the importance of our reputation. 25% of the market value of your company or more, that's the value of your reputation. So there are 4 components of reputation capital. The first one here is the newcomer, actually. It's the online reputation. That's the reviews and ratings. And well, again, this is just people's need to try to put it to quantify the qualitative experience that customers have with businesses, or that businesses have with vendors, et cetera. So the first component there is online reputation. The newcomer is becoming the most predominant now, because I believe that all the other 3 are essentially trying to be, or we're trying to encapsulate the other 3, nowadays in online digital media means. So the second one here is word of mouth. This is the one that I spoke about earlier, and the grapevine is very important. But so when I started my trading company 15 years ago, this is how we conveyed, or how we stayed in touch with what's going on with our trading partners, with potential vendors, potential suppliers, potential buyers. But as I mentioned earlier, I feel like there's that's something that really is a bit difficult to manage when you're dealing with thousands of companies spread across wide distances around the world. The third component is stakeholder perception. These are the feelings that people have about your brand. So you can think of this in our business, think of ease of doing business, problem solving, quality of materials. So we strive for example, as a supplier, to have great quality material, but at the end, it's the experience that buyer has when he sees the material that he's bought 3 or 4 weeks later. I mean, that's a feeling. That's like, okay, that's great, or I'm not happy with that, or maybe there's a problem that's resolved, and you leave a great feeling. So that forms the stakeholder perception, which is kind of a short term. It's kind of a one deal to the next type perception of what you're doing and how your business is running. And then the fourth thing is stakeholder trust, and that's what we earn over time. That's the integrity essentially that your business has. So you run your business with integrity, and time, over time, companies give you more and more trust. Some trading partners will trust you with more, well, depends on which side of the deal is. But if they're buyers, they may trust you more with the quality of your material, or maybe payments on the supplier if you're a supplier and working with a buyer. So what we're trying to do at Tradefox is create a digital profile on companies, and what we're striving towards is that this digital profile should encompass a 360-degree assessment on a company's reputation, and it should be validated through review systems. So this is where everybody is going towards. There's a lot of hiccups and bumps in the way, but this is the ultimate idea, to create that 360-degree assessment that becomes that makes it easier for you to communicate to your trading partners your reputation. So there is a lot of value, as we all know, in having a positive reputation. You're able to better control your pricing. You're able to better favorably resolve your disputes. Also, ability to overcome crisis. I think we've all been through some pretty tough times here lately, but the companies with the best integrity, the best reputation, they actually have a higher chance of succeeding in tough times. Of course, we all know that great reputation leads to more sales, more loyal customers and vendors. And I think also one thing I really want to focus on as well is it leads to access to more valuable services. So think of, for example, we have shipping companies that use Tradefox to decide if they're going to allow a potential customer to become their customer, or maybe companies that are using our product also to decide which companies they want to target for their services. So you make yourself available and visible. Better reputation means you have more access to better services as well. So let's talk about the cost of poor reputation visibility. And this is, I want you to pan out for a second and we talked about our business and we talked about reputation as it relates to our own company, but let's back out and think about the entire industry here, because I think this is a very important point that I want to make with you today. I believe that we need to do something as an industry to increase the visibility of our reputation. If you think about these three sectors, banking, insurance, and shipping, right? So finance is honestly, I remember years ago in fact, it was about 15 years ago when I was trying to get a line of credit with Bank of America, and even, those guys wouldn't have anything to do with me because I was in the scrap business. And what I learned then, and it's still the same now, is that financial institutions want predictability. They cannot basically stomach the potential for loss. They really don't have the visibility into which companies they can trust and which ones they can't. So they just, when they're backing trades, when any kind of financial institution is backing trades, if you need this kind of finance to run your business, it's arguably very expensive in comparison to a lot of other commercial finance. And that specifically relates to the fact that it's really difficult for finance companies, banking institutions to figure out which companies are running their business reputably, which ones aren't, which ones are the problem solvers that get the containers unstuck from customs, and which ones aren't. So that's why we don't have really affordable banking or finance or global trade in our industry as other industries do. Insurance, we have insurance that covers basically worst case scenario. The only one thing really up until now that insurance companies can predict is whether or not a business is going to be insolvent or not. We don't have the ability yet, this is something we're working on, but there's no ability yet to purchase insurance for fraud or for any type of canceled agreements or uncollectible quality claims, for example, unshipped material. In fact, we now are helping companies recover funds that they have lost to unfair trades, and the most common situation is where a buyer has transferred money over as a deposit to a supplier, typically in a Western country, and there's nothing that's been shipped, or not all of it's been shipped. Well, it is sometimes possible to get insurance on that one action, but it's difficult. And the other items I mentioned, it's impossible. That's again because of visibility. The insurance companies don't have, well, they do now, but they haven't had the ability to look into the trading behavior of companies, so they can't really predict whether or not one company is going to follow through with their transaction, whether one company is actually going to commit fraud or not. So the lack of visibility means that they can't give us insurance for these types of risks, and therefore they're just borne by us, most of the buyers actually. And in shipping, think about shipping companies. Of course, we all have, obviously the problems right now are getting containers, and that's not related to this example specifically because we have a unique situation happening right now globally. But do keep in mind that shipping companies are moving our materials on the backhaul, and they are most interested in making sure that that container comes back as fast as possible. The last thing they want to have, that's why they're so greedy with the 10 days or 2 weeks free time. The last thing they want is any kind of delays. Because one way it goes, used to, old numbers now, you might spend $1,000 or they might earn $1,000 shipping it to Asia, and then charge $4,000 or $5,000 on the way back, right? So they want to turn those containers around. So shipping companies, they use our freight to fill up their backhaul to earn money, but it's also very risky for them. If they could see more clearly into the reputations of the companies and understand which companies are able to fix problems when they occur, if they were able to see more clearly which companies have the most experience trading, some comprehensive system, which again is what we're working on with shipping companies. This would allow shipping companies to send more containers our way, to be more comfortable giving us the containers when we need them, and rightfully so. So this is an industry problem. So panning out, right? So there's values of having good visibility or a positive reputation. And currently, I will say that this is the thing that we struggle with at Tradefox, what we're working on, and we're making it better, and we're seeing improvements. So I really want you guys to help us work with us on this. If we will all band together and start sharing this information about the relationships that we have, about the trades that we have made with our suppliers and buyers, the more data that we have in our system, the more interesting and valuable that data is for banking, for insurance, and for shipping. So let me give you an example of what's possible, because all of you, everyone listening to this right now is a member of Tradefox. You could, I don't know if you all have the app, but if you're not aware, we do have an app in both the Android and iOS store. But you have in the palm of your hand an app, and you can make a world of difference. And I like to mention this particular case here. This is an app called the Blue Map app. Many of you probably have heard of it. It was launched only 6 years ago. 10 million downloads to date. And what is it for? It's for, China made a decision, and I'm not sure about this, I think it was a 2006 or 2008 decision. The government said, hey, we want to do something about the environment. We want to clean this environment up. And this app popped online, and suddenly it turned every individual that's living anywhere in China into the watchdog for pollution. And it's amazing the impact in such a short period of time that this has had. 10 million downloads is incredible. It has local air and water quality information from more than 40,000 factories. So as I said, ordinary citizens are calling out the polluters. So what's interesting about this, a couple of things. First of all, it's been effective. And I think we all have heard that the Chinese government is taking like massive measures to make a difference and to clean up the pollution. And they're doing it. And as anything in China, it happens. When they make their mind up, it's just going to happen before you know it. So that's pretty impressive. But I thought it was really interesting to note that one major steel plant actually invested over $1 billion to make these cuts that they need in the emissions in order to fall in compliance with Chinese regulatory authorities. So this is a lot of power that you have when you have individuals that are working together to solve a problem. In this case, these are individuals that really want clean air. And in our case, it's people that want to clean up the industry, get rid of fraudsters, get rid of the problems that we have, and also access better banking, better insurance, better shipping. So let's talk about online reputation management. There's 5 areas that I think you need to keep your eye on. Blog post and social media on the left side here. The most important thing there is to create a personal image and a brand image for your company. To stay on top of it, basically making sure that you have Facebook page, LinkedIn page that you're posting regularly. Get your vendors, other people in the industry, or your customers involved in conversations. So that's very important, just to put your company's good name and cultural values out there for everyone to see. So when they're Googling, looking around for information about your company, they find these conversations. Press releases, that's something I think we all know about. This is nothing new, but it's very important to make sure that you get those press releases out to the journals that publish for our industry nowadays. Most of that's online nowadays. That's why this is in the online reputation management side of the spectrum. Forums, you remember the forums? It's been a long time since I've actually been on forums. LinkedIn has some. I don't see any activity there. I'm not sure if anybody's on those, but I do know that what I find is the new forum is our WhatsApp groups, and I try to be involved in as many of those as possible. I think it's really important to keep an eye on what's going on, but you want to find out what people are saying. This goes back to that first action or activity you need to keep an eye on, is finding out what people are saying about your company, making sure that you then take proactive steps to refute any negative information. And the last item is essentially, in most part, it's what we do. It's what Alibaba's taking a stab at it. There's, we are trying to organize the ratings and reviews of buyers and sellers of recyclables on our platform, and I'll show you some stats in a minute. That's actually moving forward quite nicely. But there's two actions you can take. Number one is to encourage reviews from your trading partners. That's the first thing, because people are 10 times more likely to complain than they are to report something good. So if you want an accurate representation of the reliability and trustworthiness of your company, you definitely need to take proactive steps to ask your trading partners to review your company. That's very important, actually. The more information we get on our platform, we actually really need the 360 view. We don't want to hear only the complaints. We need to hear the good stories. So the best thing you could do is encourage your trading partners to give feedback on your company. And secondly, be a leader. Show people that this is what you're doing as well. Show them that you're a data contributor, that you're working with Tradefox, that you're contributing data. They'll see this if you leave a feedback review on a trade, for example, and assuming that you choose to share it with your trading partner, they will then know that you've given feedback on them, and you can use that in any way that works good for your business, to compliment them, or also maybe just to kind of warn them, or even you can use it in a situation where you feel like that they need to know that you're in the Tradefox community and you want to leverage our group of members to try to get a fair settlement. But always and regularly lead the way. Show your suppliers or buyers that you are interested in getting that feedback by giving feedback on their company. I mean, there's nothing better than a compliment. There's nothing better you can do for your supplier or your buyer than to give them a compliment. And sometimes also, don't forget, constructive criticism, feedback is very important as well. So I spoke about people are 10 times more likely to leave a negative review. But this is information that we gathered from Trustpilot, actually. And look at this, you see that the average rating for organic, so uninvited reviews, the ones that you don't ask for, is 2.87 out of 5. Average star rating for all invited reviews, on the other hand, is 4.5. So yeah, it's very important to make sure that you're on the right side of that metric there. Basically, you want to make sure that you get people to review your company. Honestly, everybody that's here listening to this right now in this call, you all have great company reputations. In fact, we actually have gone through and checked every single company, every single person that's in this group. So we do that before we start the conference. So there's no question you guys have great reputation, work for great companies. You need to make sure that that image is presented on Tradefox as well. So let's just talk about what we've learned. There's a couple of things I just want to point out that I think are important, because the lessons that so B2C space for a reputation rating system, this is where all the development has happened. This has been the sandbox where we've been learning from, and we're applying those lessons learned in the B2B space at Tradefox. But there's a couple of points I want to show you here. Amazon, here in this example, Amazon noticed a problem a couple of years ago. They have all these great big brand suppliers that are placing product for sale on Amazon Marketplace to go direct to the consumer. That's great. Products are there. Customers buy. Customers give reviews. Good reviews, bad reviews, mixed reviews, whatever it is, cycle repeats. That's the system that's working correctly, and that was the system that Amazon designed. What happened? Brands started paying for reviews. They would start, believe it or not, and maybe you know stories about this. This is kind of, I wasn't really aware of this in the beginning, but and I wish I was a recipient of some free product, but they're giving away product to get 5-star ratings. And that's actually, it's in a lot of countries that's illegal. That's considered fraud. Amazon found out about it and squashed it basically as much as they could. It works easier. It's easier to do this with big brands, but if you've got a small company that's selling a product, it's hard to police that. So that's one thing, that these paid product reviews were starting to falsely influence the rating system, which was there to represent what the represent the value of the products. And the newcomer to the race here, or to this whole mix, are the bots. The bots and click farms also. So sometimes it's automatic, or sometimes it's people that are doing it. And we all heard stories about this, right? So you get like all these reviews, they're positive reviews. And essentially, I've seen this in hotels. I'm sure that you guys have, been to a hotel and with a great rating, and you get there and you know there's no way it's possible that that company had that kind of rating. So this is most likely a click farm or bot that's come in and basically given lots of favorable reviews. So this is a big problem, also an illegal practice in a lot of countries. And so we've also seen bots and click farms used to bash competitors as well. And these are things that we're very conscious about too, because a lot of people bring up to us. One of the questions they ask is like, what's going to happen if my competitors get on Tradefox and start bashing us? Well, we watch this, and I'm going to explain a little more about that in a moment. But I just want you to I want to first explain some of the things that we've learned from the B2C space. Further example, which I think this is it's a bit funny. It's why I wanted to share it with you guys. But look at this book. Your Baby, Week by Week, the Ultimate Guide to Caring for Your New Baby. Sounds like a nice book. Look at the score, 4.5 out of 5. You see the spread there. The absolute average, however, is 1.4 out of 5. That means that when we go back and we pull all of the reviews, and you can keep clicking back, Amazon allows you to go back and you'll see all the reviews that are there. You'll notice that the average, the real average is 1.4. So what's going on? Well, this is called, this is Amazon using a weighted averaging system, and we use that also at Tradefox. And basically what they do is they look at the source of the feedback, they look for signs of abuse. And if you see the ones here, the reports, the feedback on the right, I mean, there's disgusting promotes neglect. If you love Hitler, you'll love these methods. The extreme, great if you want to neglect your child and raise a sociopath. So what specifically happened right here? You notice these are all in a one-day period, about 24 hours. This is some type of organized attack by like some type of group that basically was trying to organize an attack against this book for whatever reasons. So these kinds of things happen. So the point here is like, what is the real value of this product? What do honest people think about it? Not what the bots think, not what these political action groups that are enlisting help from their followers to go and bash a book. And the weighted average system, tells us hopefully very accurately the reality, which is 4.5 out of 5. So it should be a good book. So at Tradefox, and I hope that I know that a lot of people are new, and so we're going to have later on some product demos to bring you guys up to speed, the ones that are new. I just want to go over just kind of briefly what our reports are, how we build up these trade reputation reports, as we call them, or company profiles. Consists of firmographic data, due diligence checks. So we also check if a company's registered, we check if the person works at the company, we check identity documents. There's a list of items that we're checking in the background. We check association memberships. We get lists from certain associations that let us know if this company's a member. If they're not a member, we take that off. Certifications are listed. ISO standards are quite common, but we have a number of certifications, and when presented the evidence of that, we'll put that on the profile. It also goes into the scoring, by the way, all these things do. Materials traded, key employees, trade history is a big one. And we've come quite a long ways in the last period, and we're up to 1.7 million trades. So 1.7, these are only scrap focused or recycling focused trades in metals, paper, plastic. 1.7 million trades. That's quite a lot. So we have a lot of data. We have that data on the shipping, so the import-export information we have on 25,000 plus companies. And we have a couple types of rating systems. One is the industry reputation rating system, which is it is a rating that's assigned by any Tradefox member. We don't know necessarily if that's a trading partner or not, unless we see it in the data. So any member can rate other companies. This is one of the areas that we really watch out for bashing from competitors. But then trade feedback ratings is really the most important information, I think, that you can find on a trade reputation report. We have now, and I haven't checked, but I'm sure this morning we just broke that 20,000 number. We were at 19,850 or something like that yesterday evening. So that's 20,000 trades reviewed by buyers or sellers on each other on the trading partners. So hugely valuable. All this comes together to create a Tradefox Trust Score. Again, more information about this later. In any of we're going to do a product demo each day, by the way. So if anybody wants to follow that, you can. But this is what we do at Tradefox. It's a core product, among other things. This is our main focus. And I'd like to talk about the countermeasures that we're taking, because I do get a lot of questions about this. I think it's super important. So first of all, I want to mention that we use weighted averaging to make sure that the scores of companies we make sure that the information coming into us is treated is scored correctly, basically. So essentially what we do is we have an internal rating system for the person or for the individual that's giving feedback. And essentially, without going into detail, we rate the value of the voice. And so there's a lot of factors that go into that. I think you could understand that one person's words are more valuable than maybe another person. And, we look at these things. So the amplitude of the reviewer's voice is directly related to their reputation on Tradefox. So that means the amplitude of the reviewer, the person giving reviews on that company, that is related to the reputation of the company that's been reviewed. All industry trust and trade reviews are analyzed. So we have systems in place where we check, there's multiple things that we check. I won't go into all the details, but we are very conscious of the fact that people may have ulterior motives, and we have to weed those out. We have to, and we do, we have systems for those in place. One thing that's very important, I think, to know is that when we do, and we do, unfortunately, more often than I would like to see, we do encounter situations where people are being abusive and they're trying to abuse the rating system. Not only do we take measures to deal with those situations individually, but we also obviously will essentially mute the voice of that person if it's bad enough. And that means that all the reviews that they've left over the course of time will also have their value will change. So we're very diligent about this, because this is really the most important thing that we can do, is make sure that we are creating an accurate assessment of your company's reputation, and that we're not allowing people to gamify what we do. That also the last point there, that these reports of unfair reporting are investigated. That literally, like if it's every single report of some type of unfair practice that we don't catch on our own, any type of report by user, it's treated individually, and we follow it all the way through, and we track all of this to make sure that we're diligent about this. So let's talk about how to improve your company's rating on Tradefox, as we are the online part of that reputation capital piece that we've been talking about. I mentioned it earlier, encourage your trading partners to review your company. If you have trades on your profile, you can simply go to your profile. There's one button that says, request my trading partners to give reviews. Everything's automated. We contact them on your behalf. So it's all like automated. So super easy to do, and lead by example. The one thing that I want you to keep in mind is that the greater participation that a company gives us also weighs into the scoring of that company, because remember, we are trying to give an assessment as to whether or not we feel that company is reputable. That's why you'll see a lot of companies that are in the yellow zone, even though they may be higher in the yellow or lower, that we don't have any highly negative information that would put them in a warning zone. But if we don't have enough information, feedback, information, data, or if they are also not participating in the community, there's no extra bonus to kind of push them into the green zone. So we really appreciate every company that's already, the companies that have contributed 20,000 pieces of feedback in the last, 1 year is incredible. So that weighs a lot into your score on Tradefox as well. The last thing I want to mention is again, I really want to mobilize our industry. I've been in this industry for 25 years myself, and I've seen fraud, I've seen shenanigans, witnessed it even when I was at trading myself. I saw all kinds of inappropriate, unfair trading practices. I've seen the yachts that they buy also, it's not a good thing. And I've been fighting this for quite a long time. And we started this company 9 years ago with one mission. The mission is still the same. We want to create a way for companies with integrity to trade safely with each other. And before that was a little marketplace. Now it's a full-blown business intelligence product, but it all revolves around you getting involved, you and your company. We need you guys. We're doing it for you guys. We need you guys to help us, to give us this information, trust us with this information, and allow us to help move the industry forward in the digital space so that we can have access to these additional values that I mentioned earlier. So the benefits of getting involved now, I think that this is like, well, I've listed 4 things here, but you guys have a great reputation. Your companies have a great reputation. Make it visible on Tradefox. Like, it's just, make it to where people that are thinking about doing business with you, or maybe they're checking trades, maybe they're going to check the profile before they trade and do one more deal. Make it where they can see that great reputation on a profile on Tradefox. And one key benefit of early, and you guys are all early adapters because we ultimately we see a company here with tens of thousands of users at some point, and we're still in the early days, right? Well, guess what? You guys have access to information that your competitors don't, and that's very valuable information to know which companies to deal with, which companies that you should avoid, and also access to our network when it comes to needing that leverage in order to resolve your disputes. So yeah, and keep in mind also, you are able to use us to report unfair trades. So therefore, the third item here, you will be the first to know as one of our members, as one of our subscribers. You'll be notified immediately via your app on your phone of any company that you're following that's been reported for unfair trading practice. You don't need to find this out a week later, 2 weeks later, or never. You want to know immediately when it's been reported. Doesn't mean that it's every report. Doesn't mean that we're not a judge. We don't run the court system here. We only take the information, we verify it. We verify that we say, okay, can we stand behind this? Does this look like what has been described to us? If we're comfortable, that goes on the warning list. You'll be notified of that as a Tradefox member as well. So that's a bit about reputation management and what Tradefox's role is, what your role is, companies. So I'm going to open it up to Q&A. I have looks like we have about 9 minutes for Q&A. So we'll take 2 or 3 questions, and anyone that I can't get to, we will please put your questions in the chat, and I will come back to you. I'll either answer you privately if you. So let me just cut this off here. All right. So any questions? Who's first? Yeah, that's right. If you hit there's a hand icon. If you'll hit that, I can actually unmute you on my end here.
Chris, you gave such a great presentation that no one has any questions.
I see Hans Werner here. Manoj, hi Manoj. Prashant, Vinod. Abhay is here. Deepak. Santak. Wow, that's a lot. There's 60 people, 63 people. There must be some questions. If you just raise your hand, there's a reaction icon at the bottom. You'll see raise hand, and when I see that, I can unmute you, or you may be able to unmute yourself as well.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
How come you don't put email addresses on your business reports?
Because, well, there's a couple of reasons for it. The main one is GDPR. We've actually looked at the possibility of allowing people to opt in for that, but we need to have explicit permission to share an email address or phone number with anybody. That's the main reason.
Yeah, why don't you do that though? I mean, if I don't mind if my email address was on your website.
Okay. Well, that's what we've actually thought about implementing. That we need to have. Okay, it would be a feature that we would build in where you would be able to go in and opt in for that. So I'll definitely. I haven't thought about that in a while. I'm glad you brought it up. So I'll consider that. We have several new updates coming out, so I'll see what I can do. That's a great idea. I think it's great. I mean, ultimately, if you guys want to share that information with others, we're more than happy to share it. A lot of people would prefer, and we had a lot of feedback. The second reason I was mentioning is that we've gotten feedback that people want to have more control over who's reaching out to them. They want to make that decision. So basically the way our system's set up now, you can connect with another party, which like LinkedIn, you can decide if you want to connect with them. And then in that discussion, you can exchange contact information. That was, it's been maybe almost 2 years ago that we sent a survey out and asked this question. So that's the second reason. Then GDPR came out, but I will definitely take that into consideration. Let's see, Hans Werner. Hans, can you unmute yourself? I'm trying to find you, but
yeah, I figured it out.
Go ahead.
Thanks for the information you've done. One question, but sorry, we are not such an exporter at the moment outside of Europe. So a lot of business or a lot of companies who are on your platform are from India and big exporters or importers of outside Europe. What I didn't find, perhaps I was not right finding it, was to rate a company, not just to say it's a 1 or it's a 5 for the company, but to rate perhaps some more details about it. We had a contact with the company, and the deal itself was okay, but the handling, let's say logistics, communication, was let's say very difficult for us.
Okay.
Be very formal, or it was really a mess at the end. So I couldn't rate this because the company itself looks as a good company, but organization, for example, was really so bad that I would say it's difficult for us to do again a business with them, because it costs us a lot of time to work everything out.
Yeah, I get that. So the way it works now, we have so many trades in our database that are visible to us. In fact, we calculated about 40% of all global trading containers is visible on our platform. At least we can see it, and we published it. And so if you were able to find that trade on our platform, you could rate that trade individually, and and you would actually be able to say great integrity, communication not so good, shipping process not so good, or there's 3 or 4 criteria depending on which side of the trade you're on, and we would love to have you rate that. If it sounds like though that maybe that either that company's not in our network, or maybe I don't know if you found the company, or if the trade is not there. One thing that we've been had a few requests for was for the ability to be able to add information about trades into our database, and we're not quite to that point to where we have a system built for that. Would that be what you're looking for? Just a way to go and give us information? Hey, we traded with this company. Here's the information. We don't see it in your system.
I think it would be good, but perhaps it's also because we are not at the moment member of your platform. We are on the conference because we're not doing export outside of Europe. Probably for us, we have not a lot of, let's say, benefits at the moment. For this platform from our side.
Right.
I believe the platform, the idea is great, and how you're handling it's also great. Perhaps because we are not a member, we are not able to enter the trades or something like that. Can that be?
You need to put, you would need to. So right, that's true. So one thing, as a free member, you can always get feedback. There's no charge for that, but indeed you do need to be able to see the trade history on your profile. If we have trading history on your profile, you would find that trade there. If it's visible, you can leave the feedback on your own profile. That's also free. There's no charge for that service. If on the other hand, you want to search for that company, you should be able to find them in our database for free. But if you want to like unlock the profile, those are $10 for each unlock, basically. So that's the free with the a la carte, unlock. But did you find the company in our system?
I found the company on the system, but I didn't find the trade function. But perhaps I haven't looked carefully enough, or so.
Okay.
Did I have to check then again?
I can look at it with you.
No problem. Okay,
so just a couple of minutes. I'll take one more question. Any other questions, please pop them in the chat. Anyone that doesn't get to ask, so that I can come back to you on this, because I have 2 minutes that I need to go into a quick little explanation about how the conference is working before the one-on-ones. Get one more question. Who would like to chime in? Yeah. All right, I see a few in the chat here. So let me just see if I can take a look and pick out one more here. Great question, great presentation. I can see how this platform is useful, not just scrap industry, but overall trade. Why scrap and not using it for other commodities as well? Because the plain and simple, I'm from the scrap business. And so we started it. It's based on our knowledge and understanding of how, how the industry is. Every industry, every vertical, if you will, it has its own challenges. There are a lot of similarities in other sectors, and we're going to move into those sectors. Also, the reason why we're Tradefox and not Scrap Connection anymore, because we do intend to move out of this into semi-finished products, into other materials as well. All right. Any other questions? Pop them in the chat. I will go through those after this, after I go off here, and I'll give you a private reply. So what I want to do now, so two things. First of all, I'm going to put a link in the chat over here. And this is for the people that have one-on-ones. So if you have one-on-ones, we have about 11 minutes. Please be sure to go back to this link, pop out of this call in 10 minutes at the latest. Go over you'll be directed back to the website, and you just scroll down the agenda and you'll see the one-on-one section. Click on that, you'll be taken into another Zoom call. So that can only start once everybody's in there. There's a lot of people that are having one-on-ones. You'll essentially go into one big room, and then Stephanie is going to break you guys off into into groups of 2. So please try to be there right on time. That's in exactly 10 minutes. Let me get this the link real quick. Let's see. In fact, Stephanie, just to make sure I get the right one, if you'll send it to me fresh on the chat, that would be great. Okay, I want to give you guys a quick little tour. Let me share my screen again. I'm just gonna show you how to get the most out of the conference real quick. I'll be 5 minutes, 7 minutes at max here. All right. So I'm going to pop over to Tradefox, our site. And if you go to the community, or sorry, I clicked the wrong place. I do want to point out one thing. The community tab and the attendees list are 2 different things. When you book your one-on-ones, and by the way, today is closed. There are still spots for tomorrow and Thursday, but you need to kind of hurry because they're almost full. If you want, let me just shut this window. Sorry, guys. Can't help construction, right? So if you end up on this page, you're not on the attendees list, notice the filter here. You see a conference attendee. Here are the people that you can select for one-on-one meetings. We have 3 of those a day. You'll be given a time. We'll pair you off with the person that you're looking to meet with. Just go through, select the people. Since we have 6 sessions left, I would recommend selecting like 10, so we have the best chances of putting you with somebody else that you'd like to meet. You can use the filters here. You can sort by material type, even detailed materials. You can also do location. There's 33, for example, people that are at the conference, that are in India that deal in ferrous. So this is how you use that. So this is a virtual networking conference. We want to provide great content for you guys, but our real goal is to put trustworthy companies together and help you guys make money. So please, like today, like as soon as you can between sessions, go here and select one-on-ones if you've not done that already. We'll be closing that out probably by the end of the day today. We'll have that all closed out. Coming back to the conference page where I intentionally meant to take you to begin with. By the way, the attendees list is here. You see the agenda. You guys have already been in here. Just want to point out that we have keynotes, typically in roundtables that run side by side. So if you have a limited access ticket, so one of the free tickets, you'll have access to all the keynotes. You can attend all the keynotes. For the full access ticket holders, we have the networking side of the conference. Those are the one-on-one meetings, which you'll see here, and the roundtable discussions. So you'll see those interspersed. So as a full access ticket holder, you'll be able to see both keynotes and roundtable links here on the right. And the one-on-one sessions, you'll see this one's coming up in 7 minutes right here. So when you follow the link I'm going to give you in a moment, you're going to go straight here and join this session here. All right, that's the main thing. Just want to point out when you're selecting your one-on-ones, like this is maybe the last point I want to make. I'll go to the attendees list this way now, which is maybe the right way to go. Here are all the people. Keep in mind, all of you have a subscription plan. If you have one of the limited access, the full access tickets, you have the ability to unlock up to 100 trade reputation points. So really, we wanted you guys to have no limit. So when you're looking for people to meet, be sure you go and check out not only the person profile often just has limited information on it. This is where you can also request a one-on-one, but be sure to check out the company. All my profiles are unlocked. You'll land here. You'll see an ability to unlock a profile. You've got 100 credits. Please go for it. Check all this information out. You're going to get a little bit later. We're going to do a demo of all of this, but I just want a high level to show you trust score here. Pay attention to industry reputation. Normally, if there's 5 or more, you'll see a score here. Trade feedback. This is the most important stuff, in my opinion. A lot of other information that's here for you for any company that you might want to meet with. Check them out, see what they trade in, understand a little bit about the person that you want to meet, so we know that we're putting you with someone, and both of you are going to be obviously have potential to do business together. Let us know. Go back then to the if you go back, let me just pop back here. Then you just go back and there's Ashman. If I wanted to select Ashman, and this thing is covering up my screen here, so I can't go back. Let me see. There we go. You can just go back basically to his profile, or here, just hit the request one-on-one meeting. You can fill in a little intro right here, hit submit, done. And so please make the most of this. We really want you guys, check out companies you trade with, unlock companies that you've heard about. Go do some research in general. Like if you just go to the dashboard, you will look for any kind of new business possibility. You can search here also. Just say, I want to find companies that deal in copper, located in United States. You can type it in, and or UAE, and there you go. So then you can go through, again, you'll have, oh, one thing I want to mention to you, all these profiles in the first 2 or 3 pages, we have the most information on. So just focus on these first pages right when you go in.